It's time to revisit the age-old question, Garmin Forerunner 945 or Garmin Fenix 6. Let's go. Here we go again. I posted a video back in September of 2018 about this exact topic, comparing the 945 against the Fenix 6 and how they stacked up at that time. However, over the past year, Garmin has rolled out a bunch of firmware updates to the Forerunner 945 and the Fenix 6 that make them a lot more comparable. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Before we get into it, if you found this kind of video helpful or at least entertaining, give me a thumbs up down below. That definitely motivates me to keep making videos like this and doing this weird thing that I'm doing. And if you like these kinds of nerdy videos and you want to see more from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Alright, so let's quickly run through what's so similar about these two watches up front. I'm not going to be doing a deep dive on all of the features of these two watches. I really just want to point out how the 945 has kind of caught up to the Fenix 6 in terms of feature set and some of the other things they added over the past year. After all, if you look at the specs on Garmin's own website, they almost look identical on paper. So why does this one cost so much more than this one? So what's the same? Well, they're both multi-sport GPS watches that can track a variety of activities, from anything from running to kayaking to yoga. They both can pair with Bluetooth headphones and listen to onboard music they can store right on the device so you don't need your phone. And they can utilize music services like Amazon Prime Music, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more will be added in the future. They both track your wellness data like steps, stair climbed, your sleep, all of that stuff. They both feature Garmin's newest Elevate heart rate sensor that also has an SpO2 sensor that picks up your oxygen saturation levels. They both offer Bluetooth pairing with your phone as well as Wi-Fi connection so you can sync even if you don't have your phone on you. They both have a bunch of sensors like altimeter, a barometer, a gyro, and they both feature GPS plus GLONASS for increased accuracy. They both offer advanced training metrics like VO2 max, training load, training status, performance condition, load focus, and a few other things, along with heat acclimation. And the Forerunner 945, along with the Fenix 6, both have very powerful mapping and navigation features like waypoint support, points of interest, what's around you. You can actually search for a restaurant or whatever and navigate to it. Super powerful there. You can actually see trails and everything right on your wrist without using your phone or using maps or anything like that. And Garmin's the only one doing that right now. Both of these watches support it. I'm a big fan of that. And they both feature excellent battery life. You can get up to 36 hours of GPS on time on both of these watches and about 14 days of standby time or around 2 weeks. That said, there are some features on the Fenix 6 that let you tailor this a little bit further, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I really just want to focus on what's changed on the Forerunner 945 and all of the new features that have been added to both of these watches over the past year to see how the 945 has caught up in terms of feature set and quality. First off, one that I've been asking for a while is the addition of having 6 data fields per page in your activities on the Forerunner 945. The Fenix 6 has always had this, but due to the smaller screen on the Forerunner 945, Garmin initially limited you to 4 data fields, which was kind of annoying to me. I'd rather see more data even if it's smaller on a smaller screen than less data, so having the ability to have 6 data fields per page is pretty huge to me. I'm glad to see they added that. It seems minor to some people, but that was a big one for me. Another thing I really liked about the Garmin Fenix 6 when it launched was Widget Glances. This is basically like a truncated view of your widgets that you can kind of scroll through quickly so you can see more information on a given page. The Forerunner 945 previously had full page widgets that you had to scroll through individually, but in the latest firmware update, Garmin gave the 945 Widget Glances as well, so you can see that nice view of all of your widgets really quickly, and so that's great to see as well. In the latest firmware update for the Forerunner 945, they also added a whole bunch of user interface tweaks. For example, when you're editing the data fields on a page in your activity, you can actually edit them in place rather than like scrolling through each one. It makes it just a lot easier to see visually what you want to see at a glance while you're running. And again, the Fenix 6 has had this for a while, but it finally came to the Forerunner 945 in that 5.0 update that dropped like last week. And that's not the only thing they changed in the user interface. There's a whole bunch of little tweaks that are there, like in the menu system. Everything's just a lot more seamless, and like the summary pages at the end of your activities are all a lot easier to navigate than the old design. And all of these design aesthetics and cues came from the Fenix 6's design that they did first, and they just rolled it down to the 945. And in that firmware update, there was also a big update to the LiveTrack function of the Fenix 6 and the Garmin 945, where your friends and family can actually see the course that you're on as well as your position, so there's some context when they're viewing your live activity. Rather than just seeing a little spot on the map, you can actually see the whole course, outlined in red and where you are along that course. I think that makes the LiveTrack function a lot more valuable. That is if it works. I've had some issues with it in the past. I'll have to do more testing on it. Another small upgrade to both of these watches, the Fenix 6 and the 945, is you're able to pause your training status. This seems kind of weird, but I get it. So if you're going into an activity that you don't want to affect your training status for whatever reason, you can actually just pause it, do the activity, and then unpause it. And the same goes if, say, you're injured and you're taking some time off. You may not want to see your training status continually reflecting how you're detraining or you're unproductive or whatever. So you can just turn the training status off while you're not training, and then turn it back on when you want to get back in gear. That's kind of a valuable thing, because sometimes I'm looking down at my watch and seeing unproductive, and that in itself is kind of unproductive mentally. It makes me feel like I'm not doing well or something. So being able to disable it for a small period of time could be a valuable asset. With all that said, why would you buy a Garmin Fenix 6 over the Forerunner 945 given the big price jump? First off, I posted a video, I don't know, a month ago about the updated sleep tracking on the Garmin Fenix 6. They added a new widget and a whole new algorithm and made it a lot more accurate. This is currently only on the Fenix 6. It has not rolled down to the Garmin 945 yet, or any other watches that I'm aware of. So if you're really into sleep tracking, that might be a selling point in itself. I expect more watches to get it in the future, but right now only the Fenix 6 has it. The Fenix 6 also offers power modes, so you're able to custom tailor your power modes for what kind of use you're doing. For instance, if you want to disable certain sensors or your Bluetooth or your mapping or whatever to extend your battery life during a given activity, you can switch to a different power mode very quickly instead of having to go through the settings and turn things on and off on the fly. Now, don't get me wrong, you can still do that on the Forerunner 945, but it just takes a lot more fiddling. You have to go through and manually do everything, whereas on the Fenix 6, you can just hit a different power mode, and then that will do all of the settings for you without having to do them individually. Just saves a lot of time. I really like the power modes function. I wish they kind of ported that over to the 945, but it seems exclusive to outdoor devices. Like the Instinct Solar that I have here also has it, and this is marketed towards that outdoor crowd, so it seems like only outdoor oriented watches are going to get this function. And then there are exclusive activities only on the Fenix 6 that are not on the 945, like boating, tactical, and jump master, which are for people who skydive or jump out of planes. Personally, I don't do any of those things, so it's not a huge loss for me. But hey, maybe you do. Maybe you're a skydiver. Good for you. And finally, the elephant in the room, the Fenix 6 is just a much better built watch. It's very durable. It's made out of metal. This one in particular is titanium with sapphire glass, so super high-end materials, very long lasting. Whereas the Forerunner 945 is entirely made out of plastic and has a Gorilla Glass screen, so it is prone to scratches if you encounter rocks or whatever. That said, the Forerunner 945 is no slouch here. It's definitely well built despite its plastic. Scratches don't really show up on it because it's plastic and black through and through, whereas if you scratch something like the Fenix 6, you're going to see a pretty noticeable mark on it. Then again, that sapphire on the Fenix 6 is basically unscratchable, whereas I've scratched a whole bunch of Gorilla Glass in my time on this channel. And again, the Forerunner 945, while it is plastic, it is very lightweight. This is only 53 grams, whereas this titanium Fenix 6 is 73 grams. And if you bump up to the steel version of the Fenix 6, you're going up to the mid 80s in weight. That's definitely a noticeable jump in weight. You'll feel that on your wrist. Whether or not that bothers you, that's up to you. Despite the fact that they're almost exactly the same dimensions, for whatever reason, I find the Forerunner 945 is just more comfortable to wear. It feels lower profile and a little bit sleeker than the Fenix 6. The Fenix 6 has a lot of sharp edges, and it feels a lot more proud on my wrist, where this just feels very low profile. I don't know why, even though they're like exact same dimensions. I think the Forerunner 945 is about a millimeter thinner. And then it comes to price. The Forerunner 945 retails for $599, and right now on Amazon, I think I found one for like $550. I'll put the links down in the description for the best pricing available right now. And the Fenix 6, on the other hand, starts at $600, but then you don't get the mapping and all that stuff, and goes all the way up to about $1,100 for the 47mm version like I have here. That would be the titanium solar version, and that's just so much money when you think about it. I mean, $1,100 could buy you 2 of these watches or like 4 of these other watches I have around here. But again, it's a very premium high-end watch, and it's got some features that nothing on the market has right now. So at the end of the day, which one's right for you, the Forerunner 945 or the Fenix 6? Let me know in the comments down below if these new updates have changed your mind about the Forerunner 945, if it's now comparable to the Fenix 6. In my mind, it's gotten a lot closer, that's for sure. But I still have a special place in my heart for the Fenix 6. Alright, that's all I've got for today. I just wanted to make a quick follow-up video to my first video from last September on what's changed on the 945 compared to the Fenix 6. And if you decide to pick one of these watches up, make sure you check my links down in the description. They help support my channel, and I really appreciate that. I've got a whole bunch of other videos coming up in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for all of those. I'm super excited about that. Alright, I think I'm done now. I'll see you in the next one.